Good morning. It's the 14th of September 2023 and I'm just going to go over my trading plan for today. We've had a data drop today at 8:30, PPI and retail sales. Looks like figures were better than expected. And we've got more data today. We've got 10 a.m. Eastern Time business inventories, and that gives it 2 out of 3, so semi could move the market a little tiny bit, but that's about it for today. So moving on to MES. So this is the 1 hour time frame, and we're looking at the S&P index futures. This is the MES, which is the same as the ES, and both exactly the same chart. I trade the MES because I can get more contracts for less money, and it works out 10 times smaller than the ES contract. I mean, it gives me a bit more flexibility when I want to get into trades. For example, if I buy one ES contract, that's equivalent of 10 MES contracts, and if I wanted to scale out or scale in, then I prefer scaling in with MES contracts. So we're looking at the 1 hour time frame, and we can see we've come into this important daily area which has been on the chart. In fact, I moved it slightly today. The daily area was there just above 45, but I brought it down. I fine-tuned it because I zoomed out on the hourly and found the best place for that daily area. Still a daily place. It goes back quite a few weeks, couple of months, and you can see we came into it on this day, Monday. We're back up at it right now, and are we going to put in a double top? We won't know, but we'll trade the chart. So last time we were in this area of a double top, we rejected it the first time, we rejected it the second time, quite a violent rejection. That was back on September the 1st, and we're back there again today. So we're going to keep an eye on this. So my first level of the day is going to be a continuation of this hourly uptrend, and what I'm looking for is a break and retest of this 45-40 area. It's not in a position to trade just yet. On the 5-minute chart, there's 2 topping tails, so it looks like it might want to come down first, but what I really want is a break and retest, so keep an eye on that area. We've got concentrated volume, as shown by this indicator here, the volume point of control, or the fulcrum, whatever you want to call it, as is shown that these areas are concentrated volume, which makes sense because obviously we pushed up, there's a battle, and the buyers lost out to the sellers. Again, we pushed up, come back down, and the sellers lost out to the buyers, and you can see it kind of makes common sense where you see higher areas concentrated volume. But with that in mind, we potentially got buyers back down here still, buyers who wanted to get in here and here who missed out. And so if we do pull back down to this area, I'm going to be watching it basically from around 45.20, 45.18 as a potential bounce. We also have the 50 moving average, which curved around, and possibly it's starting to curve back around again. So this is just basically a bit of a pause for a few days. But we do have a sideways 200 moving average, which was trying to hold over here. It held it here, we've pushed through it. We haven't broken down through this 200 yet for some time on the hourly. I think the last time we broke down through it was September the 6th. We weren't down, we were only down for a couple of days, and then we had the options change over, so whether we've really pushed over it, I don't know. But this is the gap left over from the options contract changeover, and we're now above it, and that's what everyone else is watching, so we'll play the chart perfectly. Okay, so just to recap, got this as a higher risk break and retest long. Obviously it could potentially be a rejection area as well, double top, so we'll have to watch for confirmation, and the type of confirmation we're looking for is maybe a couple of topping tails, bit like that, and then a break below the top of tail, and we're looking at volume, so we're looking at higher than average volume on the topping tails, and if we get a third higher than average volume like that, then that's showing weakness, and that will be a nice short. But as you see, it's breaking out now, so potentially I'm watching for the pullback to that area. Higher probability bounce, we can use this area 4504 to 4500. 4500 psychological number as well. We tested it a couple of times here, and it was an area, it was contended here as well. So if we come back down, potentially it could also be off the 200, sideways 200, but sideways doesn't have much bearing on the market if we're pulling back down, but it's more of a guide to show you whether we're above or beyond. So we're above the 200, which means we're still in an uptrend on the hourly. So that's an area to watch out for, 4500 through to 4505. And if we see some serious selling, then we'll get down to this area. I'm watching 44.95 as for a bounce. And then for this gap, I'll just have to look. We've got this big gap here, so it says no volume, but I'm not too convinced because this is when the contracts changed over on futures. If we move over to SPY, let's go back to that one and look at the SPY. It gives us, yeah, still similar type of gap as well. So I'm just flicking between SPY and MES. So we've got that area there as a potential bounce area. I think I've got an alert set on that area as well. So we could keep an eye out for 44.86 as a potential bounce area as well. So let's just put on 44.80 to 44.86, and 44.80. That alert is probably to remind me that we were going to break down. We're going to get close to this bounce area. 44.80, so that's a potential area to watch for as well. And then if we break down further, we've got this area of demand at 44.40, and so we could potentially keep an eye on that area. 44.35 would be a nice entry area, bottom of the zone for a push back up. And that's it on the MES. Rejections, what rejections have we got further up? We've got 45.61 if we do see strength today. This is probably a higher probability rejection, and that's coming off of that pivot there and an area of confluence as well, where tops and bottoms of candles all intercepted each other. So 45.61 is an area to watch for a rejection. However, if we are grinding up to that area, and what I mean by grinding up, for example, if we are getting lots of small moving candles all the way up, no big candles, then it may be quite hard to reject it. So we may have to look out for a breakthrough, maybe a pullback, and then a retest long. So potentially looking for a break and retest that area as well. And let's just zoom out and see what the volume's like around that area. So interestingly, if we do get up to this area, the volume is not as congested, and so potentially we could see a big push through. So that will add to the fact that we may be looking for a break and retest up that area as well, and hopefully that'll be a continuation of this long play. And one last play to think about, which we've already discussed as well, but it looks better when you zoom out as well, is if we do pull back up to here and we're looking for another entry, then the retest of this area here, which would be similar to the retest we're waiting for right now, 45.45. And that's it, I think, for the MES. I'll recap these shortly anyway. Again, let's have a look at SPY. SPY very similar. We've got this demand and the supply area up here, 450 through to 450, 150. So, and we can see there's higher concentrated volume as well, and so this is an area of natural resistance. So we could be looking at a 450 rejection. I think I'm going to readjust this. Yeah, 450 rejection, and the top of this supply zone can be the stop 451 area. If we do break through, we've got this area as well, 452 to 452.90 to 453. That's a potential 453.60. That's a potential rejection area as well. We've got this head and shoulders, this kind of head and shoulders pattern here. So potentially these shoulders, that's why we've got concentrated volume, because there's a lot of price action around that area. As for bounces, we've got the same as ES, looking for a break and retest of this area back long. So we'll be watching 44, 448, 50 area for a retest. And looking further back, I quite like this area as well. 446.30, 436.20, that area there for a potential bounce. And that's based on that pivot there. We showed no resistance here apart from a little pullback, so the area does have extra volume. In fact, we can see there's extra volume because of this point of control, this red line. We came up to it, rejected it. We tried to get through it again, rejected it. Came up, we really tried to get through it this time, and obviously had the 50 moving, I rejected it again, and eventually we broke through. And we did try a few times, so the ceiling here became the floor here. Let's just zoom in. And then, okay, so what was the ceiling is now the floor, still the floor there. And we pushed through, we hovered around this area, we finally broke through, came back up, and then we're retesting it again. And we couldn't quite hold below it yesterday. So potentially this is another area we're going to struggle to get back through again. So it could be act as a good bounce area. So there's two areas for a bounce: 448.50 to 438.30 and 446 to 446.20 area. And I think that's it really for SPY. Qs. We've got this area of confluence, and we've got higher increased volume at this area as well. So potentially we could see a rejection up here. If we were to reject, we're looking at that level there, which is 377, 337 to 337.30 as a potential rejection area, and that's with the higher congested volume. And then we can watch that area and that area for rejection as well, which will be 379. Let's just mark it up while I'm here. So 379.50 and 380. Well, 379.50 is closer to, there we go, 379.29, and I prefer that bit there, and 380.55 area. And you could use a stop at 381.26, which is just above those double topping tails. The rejections, and obviously same as before for break and retest long, for to continue this hourly uptrend. And as you can see, we kind of just been in an uptrend, bit of a pullback, and then a potential another uptrend. Let's look at the daily briefly. So on the daily, we're in an uptrend, coming back. Haven't quite made a new high. We'll see. So this is a critical area now. So if we can break out through where we are now, 76, if we can get over 377, then we could be testing 380 and potentially the all-time highs again. Is that all-time highs? No, not all-time. Not quite all-time highs, but last highs for the last year at least. So mark it back up. So if we can break today, yes, we can break Monday's high, then we'll be looking at that high from Friday, and if we can break that high, we'll be looking at the highs from August and July. So where we are right now, it's a critical area, so it's probably why the 5 minutes are looking a bit funny as well. And if we break down through this area, we've got a chance to retest 369.31, and that's a critical area because there's not much until we get down to this area as well. So, and then potentially we could be putting in, I don't know if you see this slight head and shoulders pattern as well. It's not a very good one, but if we were to draw a neckline, then that would be the neckline area there, 355 area. So something to keep an eye on. Moving on to Nasdaq, it's probably looking very similar. Yeah, exactly the same as Q's. Critical area, these are the areas we're watching for, this double top. If we break that top, then potentially we've got to move up high. And if we break the low, then we'd be below the moving averages. We've got that pivot to contend with at 15,200, and then we've got these areas here marked up with the yellow lines. And then finally, we are looking at oil, and this has just been strong, really strong. I missed this double. In fact, I didn't miss it, I watched it, and I was going to get this break and retest. I'm a bit bitter about this missing trade, but that's fine. And that's why I'm a bit playing patient with oil, because I want to wait for a big pullback. And the area I'm watching for, like yesterday, is this area here, which is the 88 area. I've got my alarm set at 88, just over 88.02. So if we get back down that area, I'll be looking for a potential, probably a swing play long. But what I'm really looking for, the area I'm really looking for it to pull back to is, which I'll show you on the daily, is this area here at 85. 80, yes, 85, that's the real area I'm watching, which is the top severe, bottom severe. So if we get a big pullback to this area, then I'll be looking to go, probably most likely go into a swing trade on confirmation as well. And the reason I'll go with confirmation, because obviously I want to see something looking a bit like a couple of bottom tails on the daily, and maybe one bottom tail on the weekly as well. So we will need a bit of a daily downtrend before we get back down to that area. So that's the key area I'm waiting for, 84, 85 or 85 area. I've got my alerts in place as well, both here and there. So this will probably be more of an intraday scout, maybe into a swing, and this will be a swing play. And I think that's it. I'm going to quickly go back to the MES for the levels again. In fact, I've got a different chart set up for this. This is the hourly time frame. So just a recap, we are below the moving averages at the moment, the 50 and the 8. We're still above the 20 moving average, the 200 moving average, and we've got this congested area of volume as well. S&P, hang on, I'm looking at the S&P. So this is the S&P, which is not open yet until, I thought it didn't look right. And I'm pretty sure the 200 moving average was way below. Here we go, that looks better, that's what I expect to see. So this is the S&P, the ES, or the MES. So that sounds better. So we're not below the 20 moving average, we're above it. So like I said earlier, we're in this uptrend, and we're looking for a break and retest of this area, 45.40. So hopefully we can see a bit of a pullback when the market opens and look to go long there. And if we see a big push up, and if we get just a couple of big bars up into this area, then I'll be looking for a rejection at 45.61 area. But again, like I said previously, if we get lots of small candles just moving up, it's grinding up, then the likelihood of it rejecting like we want it to, we may get a small rejection, but it's more likely looking for a break and retest long, and that will show strength in the market. We're showing pretty good strength at the moment. And then bounce areas, we've got this bounce area here, which is close to the 50 moving average, 45.20 to 45.18. We've also got a bounce area which is running alongside this sideways 200 moving average at 45.05 through to 4500. This entire area, to watch for a bounce. So something like this will be pretty good. So big bottom tail, we come down, big bottom tail, retest 4500 or breaks through, and then we push back up again, and that's what we want to see, something like that. Okay, hopefully this video has helped you. We've got 10 minutes before the market opens, so hopefully you have a good day trading.